Hi friends, I have received a very cool machine from LaserPecker which can engrave both wood and metal surfaces. The big plus of this machine is that it takes up very little space, and with the help of additional modules that come with it, it can engrave on cylindrical surfaces. I also have a module for expanding the working field, and I can engrave very large surfaces. I will not go too far ahead. Let's unpack it and I will tell you everything in order. I didn't even need a manual to assemble this machine. Everything is intuitive and simple. At first glance, this is a very high quality device. It is beautifully assembled, the fit is top-notch, and I did not expect the LaserPecker to look so good in person. It's a very nice machine. In the rear part, there are USB connectors for connecting additional modules that expand the capabilities of the engraver, and there is also a socket for connecting the power supply unit. There is also a protective screen with a built-in fan. You can connect the hose, direct it to the street through the window, and comfortably work even at home. My kit comes with this module, which allows you to engrave on various cylindrical surfaces. This can be mugs, barcodes, thermoses, wristbands, and more. The chuck has interchangeable plastic cams that allow you to clamp objects of different sizes and shapes. Also, if the object to be engraved is cone-shaped, you can turn the chuck to the desired degree, and if you put it vertically, you can draw even on round items. And if the object is heavy, there is a stand like this to keep the object always flat on the horizon. This module is connected to the laser by the USB cable included in the package. This module allows you to expand the possible engraving field. The LaserPecker LP4 has a working field of 160 x 120 millimeters, and this additional module extends it to 160 x 300 millimeters. The laser has a screen. It is needed to switch engraving modes, as well as to run previously loaded programs. Before you start engraving, it is always necessary to set the focus on the surface of the workpiece. Two buttons on the stand are responsible for this. If using the third axis to engrave cylindrical products, the laser must be raised as high as possible to catch the focus on the object being engraved. LaserPecker can work both with a personal computer and with a smartphone. I tried both options and I found it more convenient and faster to work with a smartphone, although it is a matter of habit. I will choose a simple picture that is in the app and apply it to a wooden surface. To catch the trick, you need to connect two red dots into one. I will not talk about the settings in detail. I will just choose the standard mode that suits me best and start the laser to work. Very high quality engraving on wood. I like the evenness of the color fills. Now let's try engraving on a piece of stainless steel. Don't forget to switch the laser to 1064 wave. And in the preset modes, there is a setting for engraving on stainless steel. Let's select this option and start the laser.
Start it up.
This is the result. I don't know about you, but I like the color. I chose the standard engraving settings for stainless steel, but you can change them and get different results. Now I will show you how the same laser beam settings produce different images. I don't change the power and speed, I only change the resolution of the image. Notice I only changed the engraving resolution, but the power and speed remained the same. From this I can conclude, to make the picture more contrast and darker, you can change the engraving resolution, but the higher the resolution of the image, the longer the engraving process takes. The speed between the first picture and the last picture is 8 times different. Now let's try changing the depth of the engraving. I'm going to do 4 variations of 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. As you can see, when you change the depth of engraving, changes in contrast, but given that the speed increases as well in 4 times, I believe the result of 40–50% is the most optimal. I have an articulated camera mount like this, and it is made of aluminum that is powder coated. Let's see how the LaserPecker handles the engraving. In the settings of the engraving program, there is work with aluminum. I will select it and leave the selected parameters unchanged. The runtime is 16 seconds, and I can say the result is great. The engraving is very light and looks like this logo was applied right in the factory. It even looks better than the logo of the brand itself. And this is the remote control from the lamp, and it is made of plastic. In general, plastic is very difficult to engrave, especially white color, and I do not know what the result will be. In the program, there are settings for engraving ABS and PVC plastic. I will select this mode and slightly change the parameters to a smaller side in order not to accidentally ignite the surface. As you can see, the laser was able to do the job, and I think if I didn't reduce the engraving depth, the plastic would start to melt. So I can conclude that when you need to engrave on plastic, you need to do a lot of tests with different parameters and only then proceed. The last thing I would like to test is how the engraving will look on an uncoated aluminum mill. Aluminum oxide is very strong, and I'm wondering what color the engraving will end up looking like on this material. Unlike plastic, I will not change the program settings, just select the desired material and see what parameters the manufacturers of this machine advise when engraving aluminum. The engraving was done in 34 seconds, and I can say I did not expect the engraving to be light colored. Apparently, due to the strong oxide layer of aluminum, it is impossible to make a dark engraving, but even a light one looks good. Now let's test additional modules for the laser machine. To connect the slider, we need the cable that comes with the kit. Insert one end into the laser and the other end into the Type-C connector of our sliding platform. For our slider to work, we need to enable it in the settings, and then our laser will start working with the additional sliding axis. We don't need to configure anything else, we just select the desired engraving pattern, place it on our workpiece and start the laser. If we move the picture in the program, the slider will immediately react to the change in the position of the picture. This is the result. The slider worked perfectly, and if you want with such a module to expand the working field, you can make engraving on different long objects. I downloaded the picture from the internet. I'm going to do another engraving now to solidify the result. Whoa! Look at how well the laser worked on the wood. It should definitely be used more often for photo engraving. And finally, we got to the last device, which allows laser engraving on round and cylindrical surfaces. It is connected in the same way as the slider. I'm going to try engraving my daughter's thermos. The body of it is made of stainless steel and it has a very thin coating on it, similar to anodizing. In order for the laser machine to detect that we have a rotary device connected, we need to enable it in the program settings. Before we start engraving, we need to measure the diameter of our cylinder and record the values in the program so that the machine will be able to engrave the selected pattern in the correct proportions. It is necessary to do this every time you change the object on which you want to engrave it. This is the result. This is my first engraving on a cylinder. If you choose the right picture and modes of engraving, you can achieve very attractive results. You can divide the picture into several layers and get a very interesting image with different shades, but this is already a topic for a separate video. What if we have a very long object that can't be clamped well because of its heavy weight? What should we do in this case? For such cases, when it is necessary to fix an object clearly and evenly, there is a special adjustable support stand. It allows long and heavy objects to be supported horizontally. By the way, there is a special button that shows on the cylinder where the engraving of the image will start and where it will end. To summarize what I want to say, immediately get a good result is not easy. You need to experiment with modes and properly select them for different materials. Well, that's it. I tried to test the laser machine in the modes I am interested in. It's great that the LaserPecker has combined two lasers in one housing, and you can easily engrave both natural materials such as wood and various types of plastics, steel, leather, glass and rubber. I like the fact that this machine is very compact and can easily be used at home, as it takes up very little space and still perfectly performs all its functions. Also, if someone decides to buy such a laser machine, I definitely recommend getting a rotary axis. My friends have repeatedly asked me to engrave on glasses, thermos mugs and even on camera lenses. If you need to engrave on some large vertical surfaces, you can remove the laser head and, leaning on the surface with the protective hood, simply hold the laser machine in your hand and apply the inscription. I can engrave on any surface this way, and I have no trouble holding the laser head for 1-2 minutes as I have the cap fully resting on the surface. I will use this slider less often, as I personally do not plan to draw large pictures, and the standard engraving field of the machine is enough for me. To everyone who liked the LaserPecker, I will leave a link in the description. That's it for today. Bye.